Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Ball Gamer, and today we're going to have another go at rescuing an old model which I've got from eBay. So this Ork Truk Rescue, this one will be called. So first of all, I've got three Ork little trucks which I bought off eBay for, I think it was £20 for the three of them, something like that. And as you can see, they came in painted to a certain degree, although not particularly well, and all in different pieces. So first of all, I'm going to find a truck which I think is probably the best one to make, so I decide this is the one. This one looks like I could make a truck out of it. So first of all, I'm going to clear the axles where the wheels will join, because the wheels have snapped off, so they've left a rather rough contact point. So I want to make it a bit smoother. So I clean off both the axle and the tyre with my knife. Now there's something satisfying about buying cheap models on eBay and rescuing them. I suppose it's the same sort of thing as buying like a broken car and repairing it. You get the satisfaction of, this was junk, now I've made it look nice. So I'm clearing off all the glue points and the snapping points where this gun here has snapped off its frame, etc. So we give it a little sand to any areas that feel a bit rough where there used to be items attached. Give it a little dry fit to see how everything's going to fit together. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be fine. So we're going to glue the truck bed to the back of the truck, because once this is in place you're not going to see the bottom of that piece anyway. So I've used some super glue. You could use plastic cement, but I've used super glue here. Okay, so I black bombed it, so I've painted everything black. And now I'm going to use my little pin vise to drill a small hole into the tyre. I'll place some super glue. And here I'm using a paper clip. So this is to make a rod or a pin for attaching to my vehicle. So I'm going to do that to all the tyres. Then I go to the axle and I drill another hole. I go around all the axles, drilling holes ready for the tyres to go in. So here I got a dark grey, which I do a heavy dry brush over the tyres. And then this metallic colour, I paint the inside of the tyre, the rim. So these are especially, it's important to paint the inside of the tyre now, because you're going to be gluing it onto the axle and you won't really get access to it once it's glued in place. While I'm here I paint both sides, but like I said, it's really important to get the inside part more than the outer part, because you can do that once it's glued in place. So next step, I get a lighter grey, a uniform grey, and I do a very light dry brush over the tyre, just to pick up the edges of the tread. And of course I do it to all four tyres. So with the same light grey, I'm doing a dry brush over the bottom of the vehicle. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail on the bottom of the vehicle, because I'm not really going to be flipping it over, but if you do want to, you could go into quite a bit of detail here, as there is a suggestion of an engine and working parts. But as I say, I'm not going to be flipping the model over that often, so I'm not that bothered. I just do a quick dry brush just to give it an impression of a metallic. So then we using the same colour, and we're going to give the whole body of the truck, so all over the bed, etc. We give it this grey dry brush to give it a weathered looking sort of colour, and it works really well. Do it a quick dry brush over the whole surface, and it gives this nice grey, black, worn down patina to it. So as with all dry brushing, go light to begin with and go heavier as you go. So this is what it looks like at this point. As you can see, it looks a nice weathered grey colour. So now this is beige brown, and I'm going to paint the upholstery on it, because the seats are cushioned, because these orcs must like to have cushioned seats. And then I got this warp lock, like a bronze colour, which I'm going to use to paint the axle. Trying to stay out of my light here so you can see what I'm doing. There you are, you can see more underneath where I'm painting. Go along the drive shaft, etc. I think that's what it is. I'm not a car person, so I'm not really sure, but go along that post there. Next we use a colour to be an identifying colour. So this is the team that these orcs identify with. So I'm using red for this vehicle, and I will use say a blue for another one, but it's again a light dry brush over certain panels. So I'm going over this middle panel, and you can't really see it very well under this lighting, but I'll put a still up and you will see exactly what it looks like now soon. So I picked this second panel, the one behind the drivers, to paint in this identifying colour as red on this vehicle. It's a crusty red, I think it's called, or a saw red by Army Painter. So again, I don't put it on too thick because I want to see the metal and the black underneath, or the grey and the black underneath. But I want to put it on so you can see that there is a colour there. So here I'm using dirt splatter, and I'm using a sponge to place on the paint. So I dab it on with the sponge all over the bed of the truck and all over any pieces really, because this is going to simulate both dirt and rust. So I just dab it on with a broken piece of sponge. And this really does start showing up nice as you layer it on. Obviously you want to leave gaps where you can see the metal, the grey, underneath, because you don't want to cover it all in rust, because usually you can see at least some of the original metal. So don't attach all of your rust spots together. So then I go for a lighter beige brown, and this I'm going a little bit lighter, and I'm going over roughly the same spots as I went on with where I went with the darker colour. Now if I put it on a bit too much, I give it a little rub on my finger just to remove some of the excess that I might put on, and it'll blend it in a bit more. Now remember, these colours will die down once you've left them for a while, so don't worry too much about that. So then I get my rust colour and I mix it in with my browns, if whatever's on the sponge, and I'm going to try and go a bit lighter with this because it's a very bright orange, just to give like that really rusted effect. Now I haven't shown you how to paint the orcs on this because I've showed you in a previous video of my rescuing the orcs video, so it's exactly the same way as I did with that. So with this sponge I just go around dabbing everything in a smaller and smaller area and blend it in with your finger if it looks like it's too visible or too stark. So you have to make sure that you hit all of the pieces. It's a bit harder behind that leaning panel, but I would say that's probably going to be protected pretty good, so it won't get as much. So then I got this very light grey and ash grey for army painter, and I paint up the dials on the vehicle. So this is sort of a glass, like reflective colour, or at least the high visibility, like plastic or whatever underneath where the dial will be. So I also paint up these lights that are on the front of the vehicle. At least I'm assuming they're lights. They look like lights, so they're lights. And I just paint them in like so. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to glue it all back together, and then we'll end with a few photos of my finished Ork truck, which I bought on eBay. And I think he's a really nice looking truck, and he's considerably better than he was when I first bought him. And he looks suitably wonky and rusted and old to suit a Gorka Morka style game. So if you've liked this video, please leave a like, and if you would like to comment and ask me a question, fire away in the space below. So until next time, wishing you happy wargaming. Goodbye.